So we're going to carry on working on our island game today. And in the previous episode, I said that we were going to try and figure out how to change the scale of the terrains that we were using in the game. Because if you watched the previous episode, when we went and painted the terrain on the island, we could see that there was a pattern to the terrain and it wasn't like random. And that's because the scale of the terrain is quite big. So it's quite kind of easy to see that it's repeated over and over again. So I went on the internet and looked up how to change that, and I figured it out. So we will go ahead and change that today. And then I've also went online to the asset store to look for some rocks that we can possibly use in the game, because I want to try and work on at least one of the rocky areas today and try and get that a little bit finished. Because in the next episode, we are going to start working on the implementation of certain features. So I haven't decided which one is going to be, but I think I kind of want to start working on the inventory system. But I don't really know if that's the right place to start. So I'll do some research and thinking into that. But for now, let's go into the game and see what we can do. So this is exactly where we left off in the previous episode, mainly because I just finished filming that episode. So let's go into here. So when we go and click on our terrain, right, we've got this, let's go into our game. So you can see that I've only changed the size of the terrain of to one. What am I saying? I've only changed the size of one of the terrains that we've used, and that's that lightish grass. So you can see that you can still see that it's repeated over and over again. But if we move onto some of the terrain, like into the darker areas, you can see that it's bigger. And now that I've changed it, I kind of like it. I kind of like the bigger parts. Because the small one just looks stupid. Because that looks even worse, to be fair. Because now you can really see that it's repeated over and over again. Whereas when you get to the big one, because a lot bigger, you can't really see it that much anymore. So that's kind of annoying. So you know what? Let's just scrap the idea of changing the size. I'll show you how to do it, but we'll scrap the idea of that. So what you want to do is you want to go and click on the terrain layer that you want to change the size of, and you have these tiling settings here underneath the layer that you selected. Originally it was set to 5, so you can see it change in the scene. So it was set to 5, and I just lowered it down to 0.3, but it kind of looks stupid now. So I'm just going to increase that to 10 and just see what it looks like. So now that we've changed I mean, it does still kind of look stupid. The problem is it looks really, really bad in the scene view when it's big. But as soon as you get into the actual game and start playing it, you can see that it looks better when it's bigger in the scene view. So because I'm not quite sure what to do, we're just going to leave it. We'll set it back to 5, how it originally was when we imported it. And then let's go and get some rocks. So in the first episode, before we import those rocks, in the first episode of this series, I did mention that I wanted the overall theme of the game to reflect like a low poly environment. But now that we keep on adding like low poly trees and grass into it and rocks and stuff, I don't really like the way it looks. Like I really want it to look more realistic. So like the water, even though that does kind of look nice, we will change it because we want it to look more realistic. So that's something we'll work on later on. The palm trees for now are fine. I haven't managed to look for anything else that's better than that. But one thing that I do want to change is these rocks that we've imported. So I'm going to get rid of these rocks, mainly because they're just so small. And when you scale them up, they look weird. I mean, they do look weird when you scale them up, because you can't really scale something up by a factor of 200 and 300. It just destroys the quality of it. So here's the water. You can see you can walk through it. What we want to do now is I'm going to go and import the next rock asset, which is this one. But before we do that, let's just go into our assets here and see imported assets. What do we have? Palm tree, water pack, ground textures. What's this? Okay, so that's our skybox. Let's just open one of these and see what this is. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what that is. Oh, those are some assets that I imported the other day. One day I'm going to clean up this game. But for now, let's go back to here and import these. So these are a bunch of rocks that are free that I've managed to find in the assets store. I may or may not put the link in the description, depending on if I remember. But the name of it is Low Poly Rock Models. That's pretty much it. Just search for it, and then it is a free asset, so you can download it if you want. So I'll import this, and then we'll see what they look like. Hopefully they're not too big. I mean, too small. Did I import them? I couldn't have. Import. No, we downloaded it. So I'll import these. I think there's, how many is there? There's 9 rocks. Okay, so let's import those. So let's see where they go. Low poly assets. I think that's them. Low poly assets, low poly rocks. All right. So in our scene view, we're going to start working on this area here. We're going to add some rocks to this area. Yeah. So let's go and drag this one in. Okay, so it's not that bad. It's bigger than the other ones, which is a good start. Although I don't like the fact that they're all in individual folders. That's just annoying. And also they're all different colors, which is kind of a good thing. But it'll be nice to actually see which one is which. So let's do this. Before we do anything, I am going to... Let's just open up the scene. Let's save that and see what the scene looks like. Rocks. So all of the... Okay, so all of these are all the rocks. So there's some different ones here that we can use. These ones are nice because they're quite big. But they're all different colors, which is not bad. So I'm going to copy all of these and I'm just going to put them into a new folder called Rock Prefabs. That way, once we've got them in here, we can create original ones. Okay, and now we can go and delete this one, I think. Hopefully that still works. We can get rid of that scene because we don't really need that. Let's go to our scenes. Save that. Okay, now let's go look for those rocks that we just created. So rock prefab. So here we should be able to use all of these. That's not going to work, is it? Delete that. Yep, I knew that wasn't going to work. So we're going to have to import that all over again. So we'll import that, and then we should be able to use them from this folder. Okay, so here we have our rocks back. So let's go delete this one. And then we need to make our way back to, where was it? Back to this place over here. Because we're going to start making some kind of rock structure over here. So I'm going to do simply going to drag and drop a bunch of rocks in here, just like this. And then what we can do is we can move them down, something like that. It's probably not going to look that good, to be honest. But, I mean, we've got to start somewhere. Otherwise, we're just going to end up without a rock structure. Because we need some kind of rocky area so that the player can eventually go and break some rocks so that they have material that's not wood to play around with, and eventually make like rock tools or something. I don't know. Later on in the game, we'll implement some like creation of tools and stuff that the player can make, but we don't really want them all to be made out of wood, so we can do something like that. Maybe put that on there, this one over here, like that, in the water somewhere like that. Just, they're all random, well, not random because they're all the same, but they're all randomly placed. And I kind of like the way that they are different colors, because it kind of makes them look like they're all like weathered, like from different times. I don't know, something like that. Don't really know what I'm saying. But this is better than nothing, so it's kind of cool. Add a few more, like one over here maybe. We'll push this one down a bit so it looks like it's in the sand. Could add a few more like that. Maybe one over here. Push that one down as well. And then this one maybe. This one I want to put on that corner there. Right there. Add another one over there. Something like that. Maybe one over here. So this will probably change later on in the future, but we'll add one over there. One over here. And I'm just going to add one on top of this rock. And then another one underneath it. Even though that doesn't really look that good, it's kind of nice that they're all at different heights. One like that, maybe this one over here, something like that, and then this one in there. We need to put one on the side. So I'll put this, actually no, get rid of that one and put this one over here. Alright, so here's a start to one of the rocky areas. You can put this one over here like that maybe. So there's a start. Let's put one more over there. And one more over here. So there's a start to one of our rocky areas. I mean, it doesn't look the best, but it's better than nothing. We're getting there. So let's play the game quick and see what's happening here. Also, I believe in one of the previous episodes, might have been, not the previous one, the one before that, I did say I was going to try and implement the PlayStation controller into the game, which I completely forgot to do. But it shouldn't be too difficult to do it. It should just be a case of plugging it in and playing. Mainly for the walking feature. The other features like being able to break things down and stuff like that, we will have to implement ourselves. But here are the rocks. I believe we can walk through them for now, which is not really that good. So we'll have to figure out how to change that. Let's go do that now. So before we do that, we have to sort all of this out. So our rocks go... Okay, so that one... Okay, so it's from this one up. Okay, so for these, I'm going to create an empty parent, and this is going to be called rocks. How simple. So those are all of our rocks. So now if we don't want them in our scene, we can just turn them off and on. We can also raise them and lower them to where we want them. So we don't want them to be hanging in the air. So for now, we'll leave that like that. I also don't like this one, so I'm going to move it away and put it in the water. I feel it looks out of place there. So this one we'll put over here like that. All right. So this is a start. So what did I say we're going to do? Oh, we're going to try and do the collider on them. So on our rock, let's go and add a collider. I think it's a mesh collider that will work, but we need to try and not do it to that one. Let's try and do it to one that we can actually reach by walking. So this one. So this one, we will add a mesh collider onto it and then see if we can walk into that. So I think I remember doing this to the trees, and I think it was a mesh collider. Also, my camera has gone off, so hold on. Don't know why it's been turning off and on lately. I think the battery might be dead, so just ignore that for now. I have to replace it. In one of the other episodes, so it's back on now. So I don't really know how long it's going to last for, but I think we'll end this game off now as soon as we figure out if the mesh collider has actually worked. So let's see if we can collide into this rock. Was it this one? Okay, yeah, so now we can't move into it, so that's good. That's working nicely. So that will allow us to interact with the rock later on. So for now, I'm going to select all of them and go and add... First of all, let's go and get rid of this one. And then we'll select all of our rocks and add a mesh collider on all of them, so that way we can interact with all of them. And then I am also going to add a tag onto that just for future references. Add a tag onto each of them. Add a rock, and then I'm going to override all of those. We're going to override all of those so that we can, hopefully when we drag and drop them into the scene, they still have the tag as well as the collider on them. So that is pretty much it for today's episode. Again, my camera has completely stopped working. I think the battery is flat. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. But I'll see you next time. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.